I spent the last 2 hours listening to a video that I'm suspecting is the bulk of the text of a book that I recently bought by T.D. Jakes called Don't Drop the Mic. Yesterday, I prepped myself for this morning video by listening to Dr. Jordan Peterson in an interview that he did with Dr. Dennis Prager. And recently I've been listening to some other speakers who have accomplished much more than I have, who've been further down the road than I have. And one of the quotes that I heard from, I believe it was Dr. Dennis Prager, that really profoundly anchors who I am, I believe is the number 6 way that leaders need to fight against the system. And I want to share that with you today because I believe it's so profound. It's so easy to say, and yet extremely complicated to do. And yet, as Bishop Jakes would say, it's an expensive lesson worth investing in. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. Now, if you've been following this podcast for any period of time, you might remember back to 2019. I did an entire series of videos. I believe there were 25 in the series. And that series of videos was called Things I Wish My Father Had Taught Me. There was another set of videos that was just from beginning to end, everything in it. And I think there were 13 lessons in this one called Core Values. And we talked about the specific core values that I believe everyone should hold on to. And I understand that different cultures, different relationships, different communities, even different families have different things that they value. And that may be possessions, that may be relationships, it may be traditions, it may be education or religion. But those core values are the things that deep inside you cause you to do the things that you do. They inform your decisions. They sit behind all of the major choices that you make. They identify your priorities. And they are one way that you can fight the system. Bishop Jakes did a long soliloquy, if you will, during this conversation with Stephen Furtick about his new book, Don't Drop the Mic. If you haven't grabbed this book, I recommend that you go grab it. It's really about the next generation and how we pass on. As my friend Bruce Carter says, we need to pass the baton. We all know that in this day we live in, with social media being what it is and the media being what it is, it's all about the narrative. But in Bishop Jakes' way of expressing that, one of the things he said was, I've been on the ship, the Nina. And I've seen where the slaves' fingernails dug into the walls. I've smelled the stench of their bodily fluids still soaked into the wood. I know what it was like for them to make that journey. And still, we have people today who will say, I'm in peril because my Apple Watch doesn't work or because I didn't get the job promotion that I wanted because of the color of my skin. He said, what I want you to know is that we have held on, we have endured, we have seen a fortified spirit through the worst things you could possibly imagine, and yet we held on. I think it's true in every generation that we're going to face challenges. Some of them will be from the government, some will be from society, some will be from natural disaster, the hurricanes and the tornadoes and the earthquakes, the things that devastate societies, and in some cases, like Pompeii, wipe them completely off the face of the earth. They're no longer on the map to be remembered. But the one thing that we do find that withstands all of those things, that endures all of those times, is the core value that's passed down from one generation to the next. That's what I heard from Dr. Prager when he said, I would love to leave a legacy of wealth and inheritance to my children, but more than I would love to leave them money, more than I would love to leave them reputation, I want to leave them values. I had the opportunity yesterday to go pick up my old truck from the shop. It's been down for almost a year. We got a new transmission put in it. Actually, they rebuilt the one that was in it. But it afforded me a couple of hours just to spend with my older son. And I restated that same idea to him, that I don't have a whole lot of money to leave behind, but I hope that I've left you with a good reputation and a set of values that will serve you well in life, that the values that I've instilled in you will serve you well. And it reminded me how his work ethic has always been his opportunity in jobs. He's not a greatly social guy. He's a very quiet guy. He likes to keep to himself. But no matter what task you put in his hand, he's going to work his tail off to get it done as well as he can, as fast as he can. That's a value that I had to learn the hard way, but I have instilled in my children. And to hear that coming back from him gives me some hope that I've done what I want to do when I leave this earth. I may not leave them great wealth, but I've left them great value. As we look at the challenges that our society and our culture face today, from a lot of directions we're being told it's because of your color of skin, it's because of your education or lack thereof, it was because you have a privilege, it was because of where you were born. And I like to believe, and I do believe, and I stand firm on this belief, that it's about the values that we hold, the value that we have one human for another, the value that we have in our relationships as we look at one another, as we behold one another, regardless of race, religion, creed, national origin, gender, birth. It doesn't matter. We're human. Bishop Jakes also made a great comment. He said, a white Doberman Pinscher doesn't look at a brown Doberman Pinscher with hatred. They realize they're both Doberman Pinschers. They both realize they're dogs. When will we be as smart as a Doberman Pinscher or a Great Dane? One dog looking at another going, we're both dogs. We're different colors, but we're both dogs. And I think that's a great indictment, but it's a really good question as well. When will we be as smart as a Great Dane? Now, I know that I have challenges that I still have to overcome, ways that I look at the world, understandings that I have, knowledge that I still need, ignorances that I need to overcome, blind spots that I need to have opened up and become aware in my life. Just this week, I had lunch with another gentleman, and sitting over lunch, he said, I give you permission to speak into my life if you see something that needs change. And I said, I want you to know 100% that's reciprocal. Box my ears if I need it. Poke me in the chest when I'm wrong. Tell me when what I've said is offensive or incorrect. I need to know that. Because while I stand firm on my values, I also stand firm to be corrected when I'm wrong, because I know I'm not perfect and I need that. I believe the spirit of teachability, the willingness to be corrected, is a core value that we've got to hold on to. And in a lot of places, ignorance and arrogance have so blended together that we've lost that ability to be teachable. I want you to know that in this world, we're going to have enemies. There are going to be people who have intentionally pitted themselves against us because they don't believe in what we stand for. There are also going to be people that have been pitted against us because someone else realizes that if the two of us are fighting, they only have to fight the winner when it's over. It narrows the battlefield, because if they have to fight us both together, they don't stand a chance, and they know it. When you allow that perspective to sink in, and you also allow the values, the core values of your life, the things that are most important in your life, to drive every decision you make, every relationship you build, every investment that you pour yourself into, every sacrifice that you make, you're going to find that there are more people charging in the same direction with you than there are charging in the other direction. We've got to reach a place where we're absolutely sold out. Not for sale, but sold out. Not willing to give in or give over what we believe just because someone's willing to pay a little bit more. Not to give up the things that we hold value because somebody has a paycheck for us. But that we are sold out to the things that we believe, to the core values that we hold, like life, liberty, freedom, the pursuit of happiness. Those are foundational issues. And with each one of them, there's a counterbalance. If we're going to value life, we have to value the life of everyone. If we're going to value liberty, then that has to be individual liberty as well as group liberty. And all of those liberties come with responsibilities. There is no freedom that doesn't come with responsibility. And if it's the pursuit of happiness, then it's the pursuit of everyone's happiness, not how I get ahead by making you fail, not how I gain by taking from you, but how we all together gain. When those core values become the expression of everything that we do financially, everything that we do in the election, in the voting booth, everything that we do in an election cycle, everything that we do in our education, when those core values drive every decision that we make, we will find that we fought against a system that has another idea that we really don't want to live under. We can fight the system the way that it has been manipulated by simply describing, defining, and living up to the core values, the things that we hold to be the most dear, the most valuable, the most important in our life. And I challenge you as leaders to lead with those core values. Allow them to help you make decisions. Allow them to drive from integrous results within you into the behaviors of your day. That might mean walking away from a check. That might mean turning down a client. That might mean saying, no, I simply don't do that regardless of how much it pays. It might also mean that I have a value of humanity that tells me I'm not going to judge you based on decisions you've made in the past. I'm going to meet you where you are and love you through whatever you're going through. And I will serve you the best way that I can, even if we don't agree on things. If you don't have your core values established, making that decision is going to be hard. I challenge you as leaders to make those decisions based on core values, to fight the system based on standing your ground for what you believe right now. And if you're unclear on what you believe right now, if you're unclear on what your core values are, take the time to get a hold of them. Dig into them. Because the best thing you can leave the next generation is not a bunch of wealth. It's core values. It's not your money. It's your value. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day. Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.